So, what is the most common ESL mistake? You have to ask yourself that question. Do you have trouble making sounds, like you say, th, with these or those, right? And you have to think about your tongue and you have to think about moving your mouth. Do you have trouble listening when you're on the phone? Maybe you called somebody and you said, can you help me? And they said, I can't help you today. Well, you said, you can help me or you can't help me. Maybe it's hard to understand. Is it difficult to study grammar, right? You've studied for years with a grammar book, but you're not having success. After a couple weeks or after even a few days, you forget most of the things that you learned. What can we do, right? We can make a million mistakes when we're practicing English, and that's important. We have to make mistakes to learn, but we can't watch a million videos on YouTube to fix our mistakes. Instead, we have to have a new way to study, and I'm going to tell you about a program that we developed at Noteful to help you study in a way that will bring success. So, first, what is success and failure? How does it happen? We have a goal. Our goal is speaking, listening, reading, and writing. How can we achieve excellent English when we do these things? First, let's talk about success and failure. What causes success? What causes failure? Scientists say that when you learn something, you know 100%, right? You say, I understand it, I got it. But after about one day, you drop down to 40%, right? 60% of the information that you learned is gone. It disappears. So what can we do? It's frustrating. We learned a lot. We spent a lot of time, but most of the things that we learned disappeared, right? After 5 days, you're at 20%. So almost everything is gone. But there is some hope. Scientists tell us that if you review, you can bring yourself back up to 100%. So start at 100%, again you're dropping, and that's natural. Everybody knows that experience, right? Ask yourself, how much do you remember of the English that you studied last year? Right? Some of it, but most of it you forget. So you're down here and you want to go back up to 100%. If you review, after one day, you can go back up to 100%, right? After 3 days, your situation is the same. You've dropped again and you've forgotten a lot. So review again. After 3 days, you're back up to 100%, right? 4 days, you're okay. 5 days, you're okay. But then after 6 days, again, you've forgotten most of the things that you learned. So it's time to review again. You'll be back up to 100%. The problem is, when you use a textbook, you review only one time, and then you study something different. Most of my students tell me that everything from last year is gone. So we designed a program to help you find success based on what scientists tell us about forgetting and remembering. All right. So let me give you a preview of one of our lessons. We're going to start with the learn section. Right? You want to learn, start with 2 sentences. I swim, I played golf. And they're simple sentences. We have a subject and a verb, and then we have a subject, a verb, and an object. Now, we have 2 other verbs, which are auxiliary verbs, can and can't. We want to add these verbs to the sentences. So I'm going to tell you about myself. I could swim, but I can't play golf. Right? Now, I say I can swim. That shows my ability. It's possible. But I can't play golf. It means I'm not able to. Now, we added them. That was easy. But did you notice we changed something? Right? When we said play, it used to be played. ED. So it was a past tense verb. We changed it to a present tense verb. And it's a simple present tense verb. With swim, it was already a simple present tense verb. So it was okay. We've studied one rule, right? After an auxiliary verb, like can or can't, you must have a simple present tense verb, like swim or play. Now we've learned, we're going to practice. So take 2 sentences. They can swim when they finished. We want to check it. After the auxiliary verb, Do we have a simple present tense verb? What do you think? No. That one's actually a past tense verb. So we say that sentence is wrong. Check the next one. They can swim when they finish. Is it a simple present tense verb? Yes, it is. So we say it's right. We're going to practice again. Here's a practice problem. Which sentence is correct? And right now, I'm going to ask you to decide. Take about 1 minute to choose the best sentence here. All right, which one did you choose? The correct answer is sentence B. Now, let's check it. President can follow. After the word can, we need a simple present tense verb. Follow is a simple present tense verb, so it's correct. But in example A, after can, we had following, which is not a simple present tense verb. It's actually a progressive verb, which is something totally different. So, if you need more explanation, we always provide extra explanation down here. And you can read about why answer B is correct. Next, we're going to do some reading. So, you might say, look for certain verbs in the paragraph. We're going to show you different ones. You can look at them here. You'll find an intransitive verb. You'll find an auxiliary verb. You might find a transitive verb. All of these are grammar ideas that we study in our lessons. Right? Now, for this video, I'm not going to teach you about every kind of verb because this video is just a quick introduction to our lesson. But in our lessons, you'll find information about every kind of verb, and then you can use the paragraph to study them. The next thing is writing. Now, you studied can and can't, and you decided, I understand it, I'm at 100%. But the next day, you've forgotten a little bit, and you say, what comes after can't? What's the simple something? So we're studying commas the next day, but we don't want to forget about can and can't. So in here, we can look at can't, and after that we have the verb play. So can't play, it's an auxiliary verb followed by a simple present tense verb. Right? But we're also studying commas. So when it's raining, I can't play golf. We might study how when there's a comma, we need to pause when we speak. So I'll say, when it's raining, I can't play golf. And you can hear a pause in my voice when I'm speaking. We'll also talk about time expressions. So when it's raining, that tells me about time. When we have that at the beginning of a sentence, we need to add a comma, right? So we've learned two things, commas and auxiliary verbs. But maybe a few days later, the next day, we're back down to 80%. Or maybe 60%, because after a couple days you forget. So I'm going to ask you to do a writing activity. I'll say, look at the picture and tell me about these people, right? You might say, this baby, I think this baby can't walk, right? And this man can drive a car, I think. This teenager can probably ride a bike. So we're using can and can't to practice. You'll have a chance to write sentences on our website. Here's some great examples that students wrote. After students are 21, they can't be in high school. When people are 18, they can vote. And the idea here is you're using can and can't, but you're also using commas. So everything that you learned yesterday, everything that you learned a few days ago is being used, right? Comma here, 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 and here. And like we talked about, you can post your sentences on our website. On the website, you can actually read sentences that other students wrote. And you'll see my comments about their sentences. So we have a community, and we can compare our work, right? So you learn more that way too.